life, they're going to cause you some trouble. One of those things is going to be trauma. Trauma being things like, for some of you who are athletes, getting the bumps and bruises can cause a lot of problems within your nerve system in your body. And so it becomes important to pay attention to those. And again, the culture that you and I live in today, that whenever you have an ache or pain, the typical solution to that is to do what? To take what? Tylenol or some type of medication. Benadryl or whatever. Okay? So what we want you to understand, what I'd like you to understand today, that there are other alternatives. Theo was talking about a nutritional supplementation. And I think that today there are more things out on the market today, and especially with what he's talking about, that going the alternative route, which should be the route that we should be following anyway, is to look at those type of nutritional things that we can do to bring about health and healing in our bodies without having side effects. Because remember, any drug that you take, whether it be aspirin, Tylenol, no matter what, and I'm not against any of that stuff, but the reality is that if you continue taking that stuff, over a period of time, you're going to have some type of side effect. It may not show up now, but as you get older, it will show up. The next thing is stress. Now, stress affects every one of us. I have a young kid who's 8 years old, and I have to pay attention to him when he comes home from school, not feeling well, and we as parents sometimes can think that, young people don't go through stress. But we all do. And we also know that when stress is on us, it can affect each and every one of us in a different way. And so when that stress does come upon us, it can again also have an impact on our nerve system. And when that occurs, the body will slowly and gradually start to break down. So we want to be able to pay attention to that and address that. And the last thing is toxins. You and I today live in a culture that within a week, you and I can encounter about 80,000 toxins every week in the form of what comes in our water, in the form of what comes in the food that you and I eat on a day-to-day basis, and in the air that we breathe. So given that, we have to understand that there has to be things that we have to do in order to counter those things that are coming, that are affecting us without us even knowing about it. So one of the things that I suggest for most of us to handle some of those things is going to be exercise. Exercising 5 or 6 days a week, 40, 45 minutes at a time or an hour at a time. The other thing is making sure that you get plenty of water. Now I know that most of you may think that drinking Kool-Aid, Coca-Cola, and things like that is going to be sufficient, but it really isn't. So we have to make sure that we get plenty of water into our systems on a day-to-day basis. Now I'm also really big into this whole health and wellness thing, and I've personally been under chiropractic care since I was 19. And for a lot of people who don't know it, most of your world-class athletes are under chiropractic care, because the most important thing that we have to understand about the human body is that your nerve system controls and runs everything. Okay? So it becomes important to make sure that your spine is properly aligned so that your brain can send communication down your nerve system to all the body parts so that the body can function well. One of the things that I did today was I brought some information. I don't know, by a show of hands, and how many of you have ever gone to a chiropractor or have family members going to a chiropractor? Good. Okay. So what I have in the back of the room, I have some information for those of you who are athletes. And how many athletes are in here? Great. All right. So listen up. Okay, listen up. So those of you who are athletes, this is what I want you to understand. There's been a study. Listen up. There's a study that was done a few years ago on world-class athletes. And what they did, they did a pre and post test. And what they found was that when they took these athletes and did a test on them on certain athletic functions that they wanted them to follow. And they had these athletes go to a chiropractor 3 days a week for a period of 12 weeks. And the phenomenal thing that happened was what they found that at the end of that 12-week period, when they post-tested those athletes, they had an improvement of 16.7%. Now, if you're an athlete, I can tell you this, that you will want that kind of edge. You see guys like Tiger Woods, when he was boxing Evander Holyfield, Roger Craig, just a bunch of these guys, and I'm sure plenty of the athletes out there today are using chiropractors. So in the back of the room, at the end of this session today, I put some information back there for you guys who are athletes, and also for any of you that may be interested in going to school to study to become a chiropractor. I put some information back there for you also. So I want to leave you with this idea that, you know, this is a health and wellness talk today for all of you here. And I think that what I want to leave you with today is take into account the idea that before you know it, you're going to be 25, 35, 45, 55, and 65. And there's nothing more valuable to you. I can tell you this, nothing's going to be more valuable to you than your health. So I would say to you, just like I will tell anybody else, guard your health well. Listen to what all these guys are saying to you today about your health, and do what you have to do. If any one of you want to call me at my office, my cards and numbers in the back, and you're always welcome. I'm always open to students, especially those who are interested in going to chiropractic school or studying health and wellness. I'm always available for that. So thank you.
Dr. Miller, thank you very much. All right, okay. Appreciate that very much. He said the way you can get 16% better. Remember, the difference in making it and not making it is sometimes that much. Sometimes that much. Okay, got somebody else I want to introduce to you also. And this gentleman is the backbone of what we're bringing to you. Of course, Sodexo. First, let me thank them. Sodexo has really been the primary sponsor of bringing all of us in and providing such a layout of food, nutrition, information, and inspiration that will enrich our lives. So nobody else is doing this. You guys are getting information that 95% of the students in America are not getting now. So you're getting valuable information. It's up to you if you're going to use it for your edge or for your advantage. But let's give Sodexo a hand. Y'all give them a hand. This is wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know anybody else doing this anywhere in the country, so we have to appreciate that and praise it. Next gentleman I'm going to introduce to you is a gentleman that has impacted all of us very much. I'm going to introduce him very quickly. He's a former athlete. He was a wrestler. He had a double major in college. He grew up on a farm, so he learned about crops and soils and animals and nutrition. He went on to become a veterinarian. After that, he went on to become a pathologist, where he studied all around the world. He did thousands of autopsies to find out why animals die, why humans die, and he compiled that into something that would help all of us. He later became a physician and practiced medicine for 12 years. Then he became an author. He wrote a book that has become almost a standard textbook in many colleges and universities. He's also an author. He's written several books that have been on bestseller lists. He's an entrepreneur. He's a courageous man, and he has some information that if you listen and take it, it's going to impact all of your lives. He's the power and the energy and the intellect behind nutritional wellness in this country. We call him Dr. Wallach. I played against Dr. J for many years in the NBA, and this is the only doctor I know better than Dr. J. Let's give a hand for Dr. Joel Wallach. Let's hear it.